Hello. Welcome to Race.
Yeah, welcome to the qualifiers.
Yep.
I am Nacho Relate.
I was gonna ask you how to say that. I wasn't sure. Now I know. Can I call you?
Not Relate. Just call me Relate, really. It's just my name backwards.
I see. Well, Relate, you know what this is a qualifier for? Because we got something
Uh,
big.
what is that?
Give you a hint. It says it right on the stream, right in that top middle. This is a 100%
You
tournament.
know, I thought you were talking about something else. I'm not gonna lie.
You know, I have that effect.
Yeah, this is the Super Metroid 100% qualifiers.
Of course, we got my lovely co-host Relate. I, of course, am everyone's favorite, literally every human being in the world's favorite commentator, Derp. And you know, I'm happy to be casting this race.
You know, I might have to challenge you on that because I am also amazing.
Well, you know, to each their own, I guess. So we are
Yeah,
just
really.
getting set up at the moment. We had a last minute dropout. Behemoth unfortunately could not make it. Kind of makes sense. It's like 3 a.m., 2 a.m. in Britain at the moment, so it's pretty late there.
Oh, wow.
But as a replacement, we've got another top runner in your top left of your screen, Oats and Goats, otherwise known as just Oats, apparently.
Yeah, you gotta love oats.
Yeah, you know, probably the biggest SM streamer, been grinding 100% pretty actively recently. So
Yeah, he has.
expect
He's
him
also been
to,
doing quite a few 2D marathons.
yeah. I don't actually watch Oats and Goats. I just know he streams.
Yeah, he's pretty good. He's also a pretty amazing player as well.
That I did know. Apparently, Behemoth SNES is not working. That's problematic.
That's only just the slightest of problems.
But anyways, enough about Oats and Goats and Behemoth apparently not having a functioning console, because we got a lot of runners in this race. We've got, I believe, 28. And so what you're seeing on your screen is just 4 of the top runners in this race. Of course, all the runners in this race are good. These guys are going to put on a show. And of course, we already talked about Oats and Goats in the top right. We got Quardy1605, aka a real cutie, aka Ark, aka there's other names he goes by, I'm pretty sure.
Probably.
He is one of the top runners. I believe he's currently third or fourth in any percent, and also has a pretty high ranking hundo time. And then the bottom row, we've got Aussie 101, aka Aussie, and Azulino, both very solid hundo runners. I believe they both have times around in the 120 range, which is very good. Obviously not world record, but still very incredible times.
Now, I
And
am not
Aussie's
quite
timers.
familiar with the 100% route for this. I am more of a any percent runner, so I'm actually quite a noob.
Well, I'll give you a hint. You pick up all the items.
Oh, wow, that's amazing. I never could have guessed.
Thanks. I am, of course, a genius, as you may guess by my Twitch handle. Anyways, enough about that. Oats and Goat's having a really sick series, of course. Held the series world record for a very long time. Had a mid 46. Pretty good.
of being the first one out.
Oats and Goats actually did not have the best series in the race, though. Off screen, we have Shiny Zenny, another very good Hundo runner and very good series runner. One of the few people to really grind out series attempts. Got a 46-44. Oats and Goats finishing with a 46-24. By the way, if we could get those top names changed. I don't know if that's possible, but if we can get Oats changed to Oats and Goats and Cordy1605 to change to a real cutie, that would be cool. Those are the most accepted names here. If not, that's all right, though.
Alright, we're on Zebus, or I'm not really sure how to pronounce it. Is it Zebus, Zebes?
I'm pretty sure Zebus is correct. Now, as a kid, I used to say Zebes, but I'm pretty sure Zebes is just wrong. It's fun to say, though.
It really is. It's always awesome to watch the runners just blast through this game because I can never imagine myself doing what they do.
Yeah, the top runners of this game, which we're seeing a lot of very experienced runners on your screen here, have run through this early part of the game up until about the elevator down into Brinstar a lot of times, thousands of times even, probably more than that.
Oh yeah,
depending on who you ask.
Just grinding through an early game.
Yeah, you said you were an any percent runner, right? Because we are going to be starting off with the same route as any percent up until they get those early super missiles. Then they'll be doing a little bit of route divergence. But for the time being, it's just the early game you'd see in pretty much every route. Just going to be getting those missiles, getting the morph ball, and then going back up to get the bombs.
Yeah, it's going to be, because I've familiarized myself a little bit with but not quite as much as the runners score.
We do see some, I think we actually saw all four runners doing the wall jump climb. I didn't quite catch what Azulino was doing.
They all did the wall jump climb.
I think Azuli actually goes by Tony LS on the leaderboards. So I'm going to call him Tony because that's way easier for me. But we see all of our runners. Let's see if Aussie makes it. He had a little bit of a slowdown, but all of our runners doing bomb trees out about the same time. Pretty expected. Oats and Goats in the lead by a little bit.
Do they do the alphabet?
I believe all of our runners know how to do Alcatraz escape. It is one of the tougher tricks if you're just starting out in the game, but luckily, most of our runners in this race are not starting out in the game. So we'll hopefully see them all get it first try. Gonna see Oats and Goats get it. Azulino's actually using a skin for the game. His morph ball looks different. So technically, his run would be invalid if he was submitting this to the leaderboard. So luckily he's not, so we don't actually care, I think. Yes, there are 28 runners in this qualifier race. I didn't see how many there were in the first two, but I want to say this is the biggest so far. I could be wrong, though.
Is it the biggest?
It's not the biggest race ever, but I believe it's the biggest qualifier race.
Confused.
And no runners are grandfathered in, but you can imagine the top runners like Oats and Goats, Cutie, Behemoth, if he gets his
pretty much they just have
working.
themselves a spot guaranteed. just because of how skillful they are.
Yeah, just as long as they finish a run with all the items, they will be able to make it to the tournament. And so we're gonna see our
Now,
first
with the
little route
qualifiers,
here.
is there any leeway on like if they miss one item, or does it immediately become invalid?
I believe for the qualifiers, it is just invalid if they skip an item. I know in some previous tournaments there's been like a 10-minute penalty per item missed or something like that. You can, somebody in chat who's been around for longer can correct me if I'm wrong about that. But we are seeing our first route divergence after getting those early super missiles with the mock ball. They go back in here, get this Brinstar reserve tank, get these 2 missiles, and then we'll get the missile pack under the bridge. So
this is great.
Oats and Goats missing.
You like when you watch and get so familiar with the any percent route, you never get to see half of the game. Really, it's just essentially get everything you need and go.
Yeah, 100% is actually a fairly beginner-friendly category because you pick up so many more items. You have a lot more safety than you normally would. But you see a real cutie getting that reverse mock ball, which Oats and Goats actually did not. So gains a lot of time there. Gonna be a little bit behind still, but has evened it up a lot. Only a few seconds behind now. Meanwhile, Tony and Aussie are
seeing some
not too far behind themselves.
And it's asking if this is an any percent race, and no, this is not. This is one.
Yep, this is a 100% race. It is a qualifier for the 100% tournament, which will be happening at some point. There's probably a command in chat for it.
Maybe.
So one thing to note is the runners actually skip that charge missile. It is about a second faster to pick it up later because there are a lot more items in this area that they need to go back for. So you will see all of the runners be skipping
when
it.
I familiarize myself about this, there's a lot of backtracking, am I right?
Well, the route is designed so there's as little backtracking as possible, but there are some areas of the game where you just have to go through at least twice. Like, for example, Norfair, you have to go to Norfair twice, and there's actually a specific reason for it that I'll talk about once we get to it. But yeah, that, and then there is a Brinstar cleanup routed in, so you will have to visit Brinstar twice. And other than that, there isn't too much backtracking or at least backtracking from one major area to another. There is a lot of backtracking within the certain areas. For example, Meridia, you have to do a lot of backtracking because of the sand pits, which I'll also talk about once we get to them.
Nice.
But the route is obviously designed to have as little backtracking as possible. And we do see some route divergence here, actually. Tony going to be picking up those early power bombs, the alpha power bombs, as well as the missile behind said power bombs. So I believe this route actually comes out to be even with the other route. It might be like single-digit frames slower. It's that close. But the idea is you only have to visit Kraid's lair once if you pick up those power bombs, where otherwise there is a missile that is power bomb locked that you have to revisit to gather. So going back to what you were talking about with backtracking, that's just one of the examples of a backtrack that's not really well avoidable, because getting those early power bombs is pretty slow, and it ends up just barely evening out.
That's really cool. Alright, now we're gonna watch the Kraid quick kill. Let's see if all of the runners can get it this time.
Yep, Oats and Goats getting it relatively easily.
Try, of course.
Well, you only get one try at it, so it is always first try or no try.
That is a good. Real Cuties got it, and so does Aussie.
Yeah, unfortunately, we won't really see when Tony synced up with all the other runners because he's doing a different route, and all of the other runners will be picking up that missile in Kraid's lair very late into the run, usually either entering or exiting Lower Norfair. So Tony is going to look a little bit behind, but just know that all the other runners will have to pick up this missile right here on your screen in the bottom right at a later point in time.
Yes.
But enough about that, as our other runners that didn't do the early powerbomb route are on their way to their first Norfair visit. And so there is another route divergent here. I imagine all of the runners on our screen will be going for Late Crocomire, but you can either do Late Croc and get grapple, or Early Croc and get grapple, or Late Croc and get ice, because you need one of those two items in order to access Spring Ball, which is an item that you cannot skip.
Yeah.
Nice quick kill, meanwhile, from Tony.
Azuli. Yeah.
And of course, all our runners picking up high jump and all the items around here. There is a pretty easy to forget item coming up soon in the cathedral on their way to Bubble Mountain, the bubbly area in the game, for those of you who aren't necessarily familiar with all the room names that we made up, and you have no reason to be familiar with unless you're an active runner.
I love the names that the community has come up with for these rooms, like Parlor, Red Tower, Bubble Mountain.
Well,
There's
some of them
also
are
no-
better than others. Like Red Tower, because it's a red long door or long room. Not necessarily the best name, but it does the job. And you
creative
saw
skills really came in clutch.
a bit ago on Oat's stream, and now on Cutie's screen, these missiles right here. If you're actively running 100%, it's pretty easy to remember, but if you're running other categories, such as any percent, you can easily run past them and forget about them because of muscle memory. So the runners do have to be careful of that. Looks like all three of our runners who have made it there did remember to pick it up. Another missile that you could theoretically forget because of muscle memory is up here, right before Speed Booster, the speed missiles. Oats and Goats, of course not forgetting those. He is actively running 100%, and I believe hasn't run any major category but 100% in a while in terms of what he's done in Super Metroid.
It's really just been 100% preparing for these qualifiers at tournament. If I'm not mistaken.
You would know more than I do. I don't watch his stream. Anyways, enough about that. We are just seeing a fairly similar to any percent item collection here in Upper Norfair. They will be picking up the Speed Booster and the Wave Beam, as well as the missiles in those respective areas. And then I imagine since Oats and Goats is probably doing Late Croc, he's just going to leave Norfair after that. I'm going to be honest, I haven't run 100% in a while myself, so I'm kind of trying to remember the route on the fly.
Right now, we're all getting Wave Beam, though, from the runner. Except for Azuli, who is doing a different route, but not bad.
Yeah, I think he is a little bit behind the other runners, but not as much as it looks like. So he'll be fine.
It's also hard to tell with the other run, like, with the different route variants. You just don't quite know.
Yep. And we do see Oats and Goats not going to Crocomire early. I actually think, despite what I said earlier, I think Aussie does do early Croc. I'm not totally sure, though. I guess we'll see in a second. And we are going to see Oats and Goats picking up that Ice Beam. He will need that for Meridia, and it does speed up a few sections of the game as well. So picking it up now is nice.
Yep, and the runners are now going for Ice Beam. Oh,
All right, it looks like Aussie is doing early croc. Okay, so we're gonna see a lot of different routes going on here.
This is going to be quite interesting. It's funny because right at the end, it all comes up so close.
Well, early croc is actually a good bit slower than late croc. I don't know how much slower, to be honest, but it is a significant amount. You can't
Really?
kill Crocomire with Plasma Beam early because you don't have it yet, and Plasma Beam will just one-shot Crocomire, which makes the fight a lot faster. Plus, having all the movement items in Croc's
That's right, yeah.
lair is pretty nice, actually. But it is a lot easier of a route. It's easier to get Spring Ball with Grapple Beam than it is with Ice Beam, which we will see Oats and Goats and Cutie do, and potentially Tony. I'm not totally sure what he's going to do. I will say one more thing about getting early power bombs is you can use a power bomb right here in Bubble Mountain to break these blocks instead of going through the Morph Ball maze. So you are able to go through this room a lot faster.
Oh, yeah.
And it looks like Tony does do late crocs, so we're going to see him pick up the Ice Beam as well. And speaking of which, if you were paying attention to Oats and Goats, you saw how much... Ooh, nice spark from Aussie. But you saw how much that Ice Beam speeds up Red Tower. It makes it very easy to just freeze the Rippers and jump on them. And makes it a good deal faster as well, I believe. Not like crazy faster, but it is faster.
Yeah, it is.
And Oats and Goats actually with a pretty significant lead at the moment.
Yeah. Kind of cool to watch the different levels of speed just between runners who've been maybe playing for a month or two. It really makes a difference. At least for me.
Ooh, nice down grab Red Tower from Cutie. Not using the Ice Beam to its fullest advantage, but he hasn't really been actively running 100% as far as I know, so just doing some any percent muscle memory. Meanwhile, Aussie doing a nice strat to get that missile after, or right next to Grapple Beam, the Indiana Jones room. This room is sometimes called because you can grapple hook across the top, which is what he did. He's going to clear out the rest of this area.
I remember playing this game when I was a lot younger and always trying to figure out where all the items are, and the fact that it's been boiled down to an hour-long run to get every single item in this game is still mind-blowing to me.
Well, to be fair, it is an hour and a half.
It's an hour and a half?
Well, an hour 15 for the top runners, but for most people it's around that 1 hour 30-minute range. Which is still very impressive, but
yeah,
you know. Just had to correct you a little bit. You know how it is.
Yep. Competing in commentary.
Ooh, Aussie actually missing the grapple beam there. Luckily, if you run all the way along those 2-block platforms, you actually get enough jump height to make it all the way up to the ledge with a wall jump. So Aussie with a nice backup, gonna make it all the way up.
Yep. And I'm watching a Fantoon fight right now from Oats and Goats. See if he can get a nice fast pattern.
Well, gets a mid first round and a nice Doppler round 1. Mid. Mid. Nice Fantoon from Oats and Goats. Not the
Really
best
great
patterns, but you'll take them.
Right?
Definitely not the worst patterns.
Yes.
Seeing a comment in Twitch chat saying Oates was ahead of Zenny at Fantoon, and another comment telling me not to say that Oates was ahead of Zenny at Fantoon. So, you know, sometimes you just gotta read before you gotta talk before you finish reading. I actually did finish reading it, and then I said it anyways, just to stick it to the man. And by the man, I mean Tracy, who is not a man.
Now, did I just hear you assume her gender?
No, I didn't.
Okay, because you know that will trigger half the plan. I'm watching another
Anyways.
Fantoon fight, though. On another
Cutie
note,
getting
we're
a-
watching another Fantoon fight from a real cutie. And Azuli.
Yeah, Cutie getting a slow pattern and actually didn't manage to hit the eye, but luckily got a fast reappear, so didn't really get punished. And I believe we got another mid-second round. Azuli's actually using X Factor strats, so that's neat. Unfortunately, he's going to get a slow second round, it looks like. See if he does a mini Doppler or another X Factor. Looks like he's going to do the extra Doppler. Doesn't manage to hit the super missile, though, so that's going to be a little bit slower. Luckily, well, all right, he's going to get a mid right after, so not too bad.
Yep. Not too shabby. It was a 3-round, but not too shabby.
Yeah, you'll take a 3-round in a race. Obviously, a bit sad if you're just trying to go as fast as possible if you're worried about potentially not making it. But Tony is a very solid runner. He will most likely be making it into the main event.
Same with a lot of other runners.
Yeah, I imagine all 4 runners that we've selected for Restream are probably going to be making it to the tournament. Oats and Goats almost getting that perfect attic. Unfortunately, messes up that last little part, which can be pretty tricky. Now coming into the robot room.
When done perfectly, it is a great thing.
Yeah, there's a lot of rooms that if they're very hard to execute perfectly, but if you do, they look very good. And attic is one of those. So Oats and Goats is trying to manage his health. He doesn't want to lose too much HP here because he wants to save as much health as he can for an upcoming trick. So you don't want to take too much damage in the attic because you can, if you mess it up, you can take a lot of damage, and that's something that Oats wants to avoid here at all costs. Doesn't forget about that missile. That's another missile that can be tricky to get. The Sky Missile, I believe it's commonly referred to as.
The weirdest place for a missile, but at the same time, great.
I mean, there's some moving platforms. I believe they're called trappers. That's probably wrong though. But they fly you up to that little area, so there is kind of a hint given to you by the game, but it is still pretty obscure. And so, you might be wondering, A, what did Oats just do shooting the ground and then laying a power bomb? And B, in any percent, it's faster to not do the bosses in intended order. So why are all of the runners doing the bosses in intended order in 100%? And both those questions will be answered in just a second once this guy carries Oats down to the bottom here. We'll see if he actually did this strat correctly. It's pretty tough to pull off, and there isn't a great cue to tell if you got it. Looks like he did, though. So normally,
Good.
those robots are in your way, and there's a statue here holding the missile. But with the power bomb and the well-placed shots, both of those were placed in a way where you can just run through the room. And second, you may notice that's a speed block right there that Oats and Goats had to do a Shine Spark up to get this reserve tank. What that means is you cannot do Wreck Ship unless you have Speed Booster or want to do Wreck Ship twice, because you would have to do the bowling cutscene again or do bowling skip, which is pretty time consuming. And either way, you'd have to go back to this area just for one item.
Yeah.
And because of that, you have to get Speed Booster before Fantoon. So you have to do that first visit to Norfair. Anyways, Oats just finishing collecting all the items in this little area of the map, getting that missile under the ocean, and now he's going to be going back to the ship. Unfortunately, he cannot leave yet. I mean, there's nothing stopping him besides the programming of the game, but he's got more items to collect. I guess. I assume, like, Samus can fly her own ship, right?
Yeah, I guess that is a good point.
Like, it's not rocket science. We saw a bunch of animals fly it in Fusion. Can't be too hard. You know?
Yeah. All the runners doing pretty well right now, though. So
anyways, you're gonna see Oats and Goats Shine Spark through an open door in just a second. Now I know what you're wondering. What? Luckily for you, I'm here to explain. So, you may have noticed he did a shot towards the right side of the screen, angling down. That actually opened the door because the out-of-bounds area of the game is actually to the right of the room is an identical copy of the room you're currently in. Not quite identical. There's a lot of garbage data and other stuff because it's out of bounds, and you know how out of bounds sometimes be in old games like this, but there is a door that you can shoot open, and that's what Oats and Goats did. Shooting down from that top platform in the room actually opened the door, so he was able to spark through it.
Yeah.
That was not the best explanation, but point is, he shoot door out of bounds and then go through door when it is open.
Door go open, you go through.
Yeah, you got it.
The caveman explanation always works.
And so Oats and Goats going back to Brinstar, like I said, does have to do another Brinstar cleanup. Because there are a lot of items in Brinstar, and you cannot get them on your first time through. No matter what you do. There is a strat to get most of the items, but not all of them. Luckily, none of our runners are doing that, so I don't have to talk about it, which is great, because it's a strat I don't want to talk about. Aussie's timer, I don't think he had a timer up on his stream, so that's why there's no timer there. I've seen that question in chat a few times. I don't know if I ever explained it. Maybe some people in chat did, but he doesn't have a timer on his stream, so we are just assuming he's synced up with all the other runners. It's really just a pain for us in production, really. Also, me pretending I'm in production when I'm not doing anything and just yelling at people. Don't worry about that, though.
Sounds about right. For me, at least.
So,
all the runners are just doing the thing right now. Oats and Goats is doing a cleanup Azuli just got out of the spaceship.
Azuli is very blue. You notice that?
Yeah, he is very blue. That is the sprite hack, I believe he is using.
Yeah, I saw in chat the tournament organizers forgot to say something or make a rule regarding sprite hacks. So for the time being, it is allowed. No need to worry.
But in the future, it will not be.
Potentially. We see a nice trick from Oats and Goats there, the Mission Impossible, making it through that crumble block before it reappeared, which saves him time because it puts him closer to this door over to the left. Normally he would go through a door closer to the bottom of the room and would be much farther away from this area. So getting that strat saves a few seconds. Once again, I don't know exactly how long, but it's enough that you want to be going for it if you can do it. And there's a lot of energy tanks here, so although you do need to manage your energy coming out of wrecked ship, after that you don't really need to manage your health or ammo for pretty much the rest of the run because you get so much of it.
Yeah,
which is
health and ammo management really isn't a problem like it is in any percent. It's more or less just execution.
Yeah,
which I
you
don't
need to
think
make
any of these
sure.
runners have to worry about.
Yeah, there is a lot of execution. It is a much longer category than any percent, but actually, the only runner who did the full spark across Gauntlet, or at least across the first room of Gauntlet, was Oats and Goats. I believe Cutie and Azuli both refilled, and Aussie got an extra tank from Crocomire, so neither of them had to worry as much as Oats did. And so
Yeah, not near as
you don't
much as
even need
Oats
to...
would've.
Even the little bit of health management out of wrecked ship, you don't really need to do because you can just do a ship refill if you're just starting out with the category. So there's barely any ammo or health management at all past the very early parts of the game, which is very nice because it allows you to focus more on stuff like execution and other stuff. Oh, it's failing that spark. That's very sad. But luckily, that gave me something else to talk to after I was trying to find a word to say. Thanks, Oats.
Yes, thank you, Oats, for messing up. Oats and Goats, I believe, being farther ahead than everybody else. I'm not sure though.
Well, we aren't supposed to talk about all the runners off stream. But yeah, Oats and Goats has been pulling ahead pretty significantly. Not on like the best pace of his life or anything, but he's making
doing pretty
very good pace right now.
on this race.
See if he gets this nice little trick. Looks like he does. The Blockbuster, I believe it's called, because you bust through these blocks, saves you a little bit of time. And so he's going to be headed to Meridia. Meanwhile, the other runners all doing their Brinstar cleanups. Cutie is pretty close to done. Just needs to get the items at the bottom of Big Pink. We call it that because it's big and pink. I know we're geniuses. And as well as this super missile behind Spore Spawn. So actually, I didn't mention this when Oats did it, but that's a pretty interesting trick because there is a super missile block just off screen that you have to hit in order to enter the Spore Spawn super area from the back. And you have to be in a pretty specific lineup. There are a lot of different lineups that runners use, but when you shoot a super missile, it will disappear after being off screen for 1 frame. So you have 1 frame off screen to hit the block. And the super missile can go either 2 pixels a frame or 3 pixels. I believe it alternates. So you have to be in a lineup where the super missile goes 3 pixels the frame it goes off screen so that you are able to hit the super block.
Because that would be quite a pain if you were to miss it, am I?
Well, luckily at this point you do have a lot of tries. because you have a lot of super missiles, but you don't want to miss it.
Oh, I'm thinking of something else. Yep.
I don't know what you're thinking of, but I'll pretend I do. So, yep, you're thinking of something else.
I'm seeing a question in chat asking on how to pronounce my name. It is pronounced Natro Relate.
I'm not seeing any questions in chat asking to pronounce my name, and frankly, I'm offended.
Yeah, it's really quite blasphemy.
Not too much interesting going on here. We're seeing Cutie, the first one out of Brinstar, or at least out of Pink and Green Brinstar, still has to go through Red Tower on his way to Meridia.
Yep.
So here's a pop quiz for you. How many rooms outside of Meridia have water in them?
Yes.
Good answer.
Yeah, I really don't know.
I'm gonna be honest, I don't know exactly either. I want to say, I'm like counting on my fingers now. Hold on. I want to say 7. That might not be right.
That might be like 5 or 6.
Well, there's the 2 at the bottom of Red Tower, right? There's 2 in behind Grapple, the vanilla Grapple escape, which we don't really see runners do in vanilla categories. There's Moat, West Ocean, East Ocean, and Crab Maze. I think that's it. So that'd be 8. Well, no, there's another one here. The Waterway. So 9. I guess Wreck Ship. I should have said Wreck Ship or Meridia. I guess Wreck Ship doesn't actually have that many rooms with water in it either. It's a lot less than you'd think.
Yeah, it really is.
So 9 then? I don't know. Point is, I don't actually know the answer, and I'm just avoiding talking about the runs because I'm a bad commentator. Anyways.
Nice. I was about to say Oats is coming up on Dragon, which will be a fun fight. It's always one I've had very hard time with. But knowing his skill level, he should be fine. So should all the other 3 runners.
Yeah, Oats and Goats has done this fight countless times in several different categories, and this category is one of the easiest because you have a lot more health than you normally would in categories like any percent, but he's just going to be charging up a Shine Spark and an X Factor at the same time, and then positioning himself so the X Factor and the Shine Spark all land into
At the same time.
Dragon. So, actually, Dragon is one of the few bosses that takes damage from Shine Sparks. It does a set amount of damage every frame, so by sparking through Dragon, you will do damage. And there is a small area at about Dragon's forehead, or behind Dragon's forehead, where multiple Dragon hitboxes overlap. So if you spark through that, you actually get to do double damage.
Nice. But that was a
while Shine Sparking through Dragon.
great Dragon fight from Oats and Goats.
Yep, got that 2 spark, which is fairly difficult. Nice little deboost there. I don't think I've ever seen that.
And Oats and Goats now has the blue suit, which I believe you obtain the blue suit when you kill Dragon and have a stored Shine Spark at the same time.
Well, it's when you kill Dragon with a Shine Spark at all, the game forces you into a standing position. So if you get forced into a standing position while you're in a Shine Spark, it gives you a blue suit because some values don't get set or don't get reset to 0 properly. But if you have a blue suit and you start running, the values do get set, and then you lose it. You're gonna see a little bit of a difficult trick here from Oats and Goats. The Blockbuster, never mind. That's also not the Blockbuster, and he didn't go for it. The double whammy of I look like a dummy.
Wow, amazing. Oats and
It's
Goats doing
not
a
that
jig
amazing,
there.
actually. I'm just very sad. Yeah, he is going to be going for it on the next loop through Meridia. There are 2 sand pits at the bottom of Aqueduct, the big rectangle room. That's a great room description.
Yeah.
But you
I
have to
was-
go down
I was
both of
thinking
them,
for
so
a
you
second,
actually have to...
Which rectangle room could you be talking about? I mean, there's the rectangle
The big
room,
one.
Oh, the big one. I'm pretty sure I don't know which one you're talking about.
It's the one you have to powerbomb to enter. But you have to go through that room 3 times. Once to get to Botwoon, and then once for each sand pit. So there is a lot of backtracking within Meridia. And I didn't even get to talk about Ice Clip, because Oats and Goats got it first try, it looks like. Crazy.
Oh yeah, I didn't even notice that. Cutie's doing Dragon right now, though.
Looks like he's gonna go for a spike suit, which he gets. Pretty nice. Now, unlike Blue Suit, I could not tell you the technical details of Spike Suit, but it does give you a Shine Spark basically forever until you use it up. So you are able to run out of this room. It saves a little bit of time, not a ton though. And some runners just opt to not do it, like Oats and Goats, even. Not Oats and Goats. That's not a real person.
You know, I didn't even notice that you mispronounced the name.
Thanks.
Yeah.
So anyways, we've got Tony coming up on Dragon and Aussie coming up on Botwoon. Haven't really talked about the Botwoon fight. It's very similar to the one you do in any percent. You just do an X Factor. This recent X Factor setup was discovered by Decalled, I believe. You can actually do the X Factor at a different position and position yourself so that all the X Factor particles hit onto Botwoon. It saves a few frames because you are able to hit him earlier with super missiles after the fact. It's a little bit easier, at least. Ooh, Oats and Goats not quite getting the wall jump, falling all the way down this room. He's gonna make it up, though. I don't know what happened to his timer. Oh, I do know what happened to his timer. He got a sub, and it covered his timer.
I was just gonna say it was doing a little bit of a jig there. And right now, Zuli's doing Dragon. Well, right as I say that, he finished him, but... Nice
Yeah, unfortunately...
fight from Zuli.
Whoa, that was weird. Tony did not quite get the blue suit from Dragon. There's some situations where you just don't get it, I believe. And so he tried to go for the spike suit, but wasn't able to get that either. We're going to see Ice Clip here from Cutie. Unfortunately, didn't get it first try, so he's just going to reset the room. But if you freeze these little guys on the correct pixel...
Someone commented that they looked up a map and there's a total of 16 rooms without water. No, with water.
Cool. Anyways, as I was saying, the ice clip that you just saw from Cutie, you need to freeze the Puyo, those little worm enemies are called, in a precise pixel. It's a pixel perfect trick. And then if you crouch and then jump, you are able to clip through the ceiling, because when you crouch and then jump, you get placed 8 pixels above the ground, and that height is actually enough to put you slightly in the ceiling. So you just go through the 1 block ceiling and are able to access Spring Ball. Oh, apparently I forgot about G4 having water. So that'd be 9 rooms outside of Meridia Wreck Ship.
And the statue room.
That is G4. Just another name for statue room.
I never heard it as G4.
It's more commonly used in the randomizer community as far as I know, but it's one less syllable, so I use it. It's called efficiency and not laziness, I swear.
100%. So I believe all the runners are just doing a bit of a cleanup now.
Yep, it would seem that way. So Ossie's actually going to have a much easier time getting to Shack Tool because he has the grapple beam, so he can do the room how you're intended to do it by just grappling the breakable grapple block and then going up and around, rather than doing the ice clip, which you just saw Tony do in the bottom right. So it is slower, but it is also a lot easier. So if you are just starting out with 100%, it is usually recommended that you do early Crocomire. I actually did early Crocomire and early Ice when I started Hundo, and I think most people could say the same. Yep. Also, we see Oats and Goats going into Kraid's lair to pick up that missile I was talking about. So now, in terms of routes, Oats and Tony are even. So you see how much time Oats and Goats has saved by just having really sick movement, really. He's had a very clean run so far.
This might be a PB for him. But you know.
I doubt it, but he is having a solid run.
I'd say all the runners are having quite a good run now.
Apparently we do have... Wait, am I allowed to... I'm going to say it anyways because I'm defying the man. We do have a forfeit off stream. It looks like there was a soft lock in the aqueduct room, which I was going to talk about. Oh, you actually saw that. So what you saw on Cutie's stream was he tried to make it all the way up those blocks with the momentum from just using space jump, but unfortunately didn't quite make it, and you can actually get stuck in between speed blocks with no way to get out. And so that happened to one of the runners off stream, and that almost happened to Cutie right there, but luckily he was able to jump out of it and then just use a normal Shine Spark to make it up the blocks. So he's going to be fine. Unfortunately, not everyone is fine.
So I'm looking through the chat right now, and apparently I was completely wrong. I'm sorry for that, but he's not able to do a PB.
Yeah, we aren't really going to be seeing many runners PB in a race, especially not somebody as experienced as Oats and Goats who has a incredibly solid PB. It's just hard to match that level of execution in a race, because you can't reset a bad early game in a race, because then you are just behind. And Oats and Goats did miss a couple key tricks early game, like the reverse mock ball, which saves, about 8 seconds. Not quite that much, but it does save a good amount.
Now, I'm not quite as familiar as you are with 100%, but I have quite the idea of it. I'm more of a any percent runner, but I'm thinking I'm understanding most of what you're explaining.
Oh, that's good. That means I'm doing at least a decent job, hopefully. Oats and Goats finishing off Gold Terizo. Unfortunately, you can't enter Gold Terizo from the back like you can spore spawn, because there's a missile you can only get by entering from the front. Technically, you can get it. It's never been done by a human in real time, I believe, and at least not without save states, and might never ever be done by a human in real time, because it's very hard and there's no visual cue for it. I don't know the exact details of the trick, but it involves a lot of tricks that are basically major glitches, but are allowed because they don't save any time in any major category.
There's just a lot of really cool tricks that probably won't ever be used unless a massive route comes, but I don't think that will happen. But it's always cool to try to perform those little tricks you find.
Reminds me of a pretty neat trick that was found about a year ago. There's some garbage data in the ceiling of the Frog Speedway, the long room that you need Speed Booster to cross. And so if you're entering from the right side by shooting diagonally at the ceiling, you can actually load so many of those trash blocks that the game doesn't have the speed blocks loaded anymore, and you can just walk through them, which it's not useful for any major category because you have to have Wave Beam, and no category picks up Wave Beam but not Speed Booster. But it is useful in Randomizer, occasionally.
I've done a randomizer one time, and I have to say I had actually quite a blast with it.
Yeah, Randomizer, definitely a different experience from the vanilla game, but can be a lot of fun if you were the type of person to enjoy that kind of thing.
Right now we're seeing 2 runners, Oats and Goats, and Cutie in Kraid's lair.
So remember
quick work of it.
Remember back in Wreck Ship when I was talking about how you were forced into playing the game with the vanilla boss order, fighting all the bosses in the intended order, because you needed Speed Booster to get all of the items in Wreck Ship? So there is one other thing, because you may be thinking, well, why don't you just visit Norfair first and then go do Wreck Ship? Well, the answer is you actually can't, because for both statues that you can morph ball into, the one in Wreck Ship and the one in Lower Norfair to enter GT from the front, they both require you to have a certain item. In Wreck Ship, that item is morph ball, which you need to enter the statue anyways, so it doesn't really impact anything. In Lower Norfair, that item is Space Jump, which you need to go to Meridia first to access with any reasonable amount of speed. So you are forced to do Meridia. You're already forced to do Meridia after Wreck Ship because of gravity, and you're forced to do Lower Norfair after Meridia because of Space Jump. And that's why all of the bosses are done in vanilla order.
So it essentially just forces you to do it in a vanilla.
Yep. Like I said, there is a complicated trick that allows you to access the GT missile while entering GT from the back, but it's never been done by a human in or out of a run. And so, for the time being, we are forced into vanilla boss order. Or not forced, you can technically go through Meridia. I believe you can get all the items without gravity suit. It's not fast. It would lose you a lot of time.
But it is possible.
It is possible, I think. I'd have to double check. But it's not feasible. It would require a lot of fancy tricks to gain spike suits. That's for sure. So one thing you may notice we didn't even talk about is Ridley. Oats and Goats has already fought Ridley. And with that... Yeah, with that full beam combo, it only took a few seconds. Was able to get through Ridley very quickly and is already on his way out of Lower Norfair. I believe 100% RBO has been done. I don't know who did it, but there's no way somebody hasn't done it.
Yeah, that it has to be an RBO 100%.
So Oats and Goats can't forget any of the items in Lower Norfair, of course. There's a few over here, including this missile and a power bomb that he needs to go through this maze to access. He tried to do a trick known as the Hodarubi Special, named after Hodarubi, of course, a legend of the game. He's back to running today, actually. Participated in the qualifier this morning, which would have been night for him since he's in Japan. But basically, the trick allows you to use the blue suit from running along that platform before the morph ball maze, and then morph balling into the area to break the block, which saves a little bit of time. Unfortunately, Oats and Goats didn't get it and did have to just use a bomb. I don't think he's missed an item yet, though, so hopefully that's the case.
Yeah. Right now we're watching Cutie, though, do Ridley. And Aussie, I believe, coming up on him.
Yeah, another really nice Ridley fight there from Cutie. Oats and Goats does have a few more items in Upper Norfair he needs to pick up, but nothing too time-consuming. He does actually have to fight Crocomire still. I almost forgot about that.
It was a nice fight from Cutie right there. And Azuli is making his way to it. And Aussie doing Gold Trees, though.
Yeah, all of our runners are relatively close. Three of the runners all in Lower Norfair still. Oats and Goats being a little bit ahead at the moment. He's going to be collecting all the items in Bubble Mountain before going down to Crocomire.
I always found Crocomire my favorite mini-boss in this game.
Yeah, he's a kind of a fan favorite mini-boss, especially among randomizer runners. Well, some randomizer runners like him. Others really hate him. Depends on who you ask, really.
It really does.
But anyways, you're going to see the power of the Plasma Beam against Crocomire. You aren't supposed to have the Plasma Beam, so it isn't coded. The Plasma Beam isn't coded to disappear when it hits him. Therefore, it will hit him every frame and do this. And you see Crocomire walks all the way back to the bridge.
So it's just one shot and he's done.
One horizontal shot. If you shoot the shot diagonally, there is a chance that he will stop right before the bridge. But yes, you can just kill him in one shot if you do it properly.
So it seems we may have caused a bit of a problem in the chat. They're having a discussion on which is better, Crocomire or Spore Spawn.
Spore Spawn's a pretty fun fight. You see it in a few categories. They're all bad categories,
Isn't there
though.
a category dedicated to just Spore Spawn?
Ooh, Oats and Goats using that spike suit. He got a spike suit after Crocomire from the spike wall that Crocomire tears down. And what he wants to do is actually use that spike suit to cross the X-ray scope room in order to get that faster. But unfortunately, accidentally uses it behind Crocomire while trying to get that power bomb. So we won't have that nice time save. And you were asking if he was potentially in range of a PB. I mean, he wasn't really before, but now he's definitely not.
Oh yeah.
And we've reached a point for top runners where you have to get all the hard tricks, even in a long category like 100%, in order to really have a chance at getting a PB. And, you know, you can't just expect to get them all in a race because, well, they're all hard to get. You know, eventually you mess up something in general. Obviously, that's not always the case. We see runners PB in races all the time at any skill level, even the top runners. We've seen some 43s in races from runners like Sweetnum in any percent. I believe his PB is still a race PB.
Oh wow.
But it's very unlikely because of race nerves combined with just the unlikelihood of any single run being a PB in the first place. In this case, it's mostly the latter. I imagine Oats and Goats has been in enough races at this point where he's not really affected too much by nerves, but it is a thing that affects everyone to some degree.
Yeah, I would say it have to affect, like, to some extent, like just.
Anyways, Oats and Goats is picking up his last item in Norfair. Doesn't quite hit the super missile on the gate, but we won't worry about that. And we're gonna see him head up to X-Ray, and then he's gonna be picking up the rest of the items in Blue Brinstar and Quirkeria and finishing the game. So he's making good pace for sure.
Oh yeah.
Gonna be
I'd
about
say
a
all the runners
116, a high 116 it looks like.
I would say all 4 runners are doing quite well.
Oh, absolutely. Here's a nice feature of getting the spike suit. You can actually just hold it, which you're seeing Cutie do right now, just holding the pose. Once again, I couldn't tell you the technical reason why all that happens, but it does, and it looks cool.
It really does. It's really more for aesthetics than anything, but it is quite cool.
And so Oats and Goats getting that X-ray scope. Of course, he's never going to actually use the X-ray scope, or at least he doesn't want to. He might have to on Mother Brain, and I'll talk about that in a bit, but never actually going to have to use it, or never going to want to have to use it at least. And so we probably won't see it from an experienced runner like Oats and Goats. And once again, I'll talk about that once it happens, if it happens.
So I just saw a question in chat that asks, which one is Zelda? And I'm gonna have to say the response to that is all of them.
Yep, they are all playing the same game, so therefore, if one is Zelda, then they are all Zelda. I believe this is known as the associative property.
Yes. Right now, Oats and Goats doing his final bit of cleanup. Nice Crocomire fight from Azuli.
Yep. Luckily, Ossie's already fought Crocomire, so once he finishes the Bubble Mountain cleanup, he will just be able to leave. So he's going to save all that time. I believe he is ahead of Tony, or Azuli, whichever you want to call him.
I just go by Azuli.
I like
now,
Tony.
Are the runners going to be doing save or kill the animals, or is it just going to be kill the animals so they qualify?
Well, the runners don't currently have a reason to save the animals, so some might do it for the memes. I don't think anyone on stream is going to, though. But we'll see. Oats and Goats just cleaning up his this area is called Retro Brinstar because it's very similar to the area in the original Metroid. Just finishing up the cleanup there. There's a couple more items he has to pick up, including one under the old Mother Brain capsule. Which you'll see him grab in just a second.
And just as you're saying, here it is.
There it is. It is really impressive how well Oats and Goats is doing. Obviously, I don't want to be too biased towards one runner. I've done that in the past. Does not make for a very good commentary, but Oats and Goats is performing very well. You know, not that the other runners aren't playing very well, of course. They're all playing at a very comparable level to their PBs as Oats is. You know, it's always nice to see top runners do top runner things, even if it's not a perfect run. And here we have the final missile of the game, the 230 missile. We call it that because it is the 230th missile that you get. And that is the final missile pack you need for all the items, assuming you've picked up every single item. Looks like Oats has. The only thing... I can't think of anything he would have missed, but I haven't been watching too closely. Azuli is not moving. And it looks like he forfeit. I don't know why. Did he miss something? I assume he missed an item and realized that it would take so long to get it that he just wanted to quit the race. I didn't see what it was, though. Definitely not what you want to see. You know, there's 28 runners, I believe, in this race. We've only seen 2 forfeits so far, which is good. Obviously, there's going to be more if any runner finishes with less than 100%, but, you know, 100%, not the hardest category to get a completed run of, but it is still nice to see at least most runners finishing. Yeah, not totally sure what happened to Azuli. Chat saying it had something to do with his sprites potentially causing different lag. I don't know why he would forfeit off of that. I don't think it matters. I don't think it would change the game that much that you would need to forfeit, but Tony, you know, maybe something happened. Maybe he just wanted to have as much competitive integrity as possible. I imagine he'll be back. But let's focus on the runners that are still going. Oats and Goats coming up to the baby skip. You still with me, Rylet? Oh, beautiful. Got the spring ball baby skip perfectly. That is a very hard version of the baby skip that Oats and Goats just got. It's another one of the hard tricks that you kind of have to get late in the run. Obviously, you don't necessarily need to do that specific baby skip to have a chance of a PB at any level, but it is the fastest way to do it that runners go for, at least. Fortunately, Oats didn't get the down back Zeb skip, and since he has screw attack, he actually has to wait for himself to get damaged. Actually, I guess he could do like a mid-air morph and then down back into it, but ended up just waiting for another Rinka to hit him so that he could do the down back. A little bit tricky because you can't just spin jump into it with screw attack. The trick will not work because how it works is you're actually standing on the Rinka, which pushes you a couple pixels into the wall, and with screw attack you don't stand on the Rinka. There's more technical explanation. Once again, I'm not going to be the one to give it to you because I'm kind of dumb.
I am back.
Howdy.
Howdy, I had a bit of a technical difficulty, but back. Seems like Oats is doing the final boss, and Cutie is on his way down with him.
Yep, Oats just gonna damage himself down here. He wants to be between 700 and 799 energy when Mother Brain's Rainbow Beam hits him. And the reason he wants
to take
so that he can
3 energy tanks
like this. What'd you say?
I believe Mother Beam's Rainbow Beam takes 3 energy tanks, and the more health. No, it gets you down to. You have to have at least 3 energy to survive it.
Correct. I believe the other runners both took Variasuit off, so the Mother Brain's Rainbow Beam will do 6 E-Tanks, just to do this setup a little bit easier. But you'll notice that Oats and Goats is moving when normally he would be locked onto the ground. And that's because he set his health up in a specific way so that he was able to stand up after the Rainbow Beam. And then so when Mother Brain did her scripted Rainbow Beam that normally summons the baby Metroid, he was able to keep moving. And so you'll notice he did a couple different things there. The game tries to force you to the ground twice in this cutscene, once when the baby appears on screen, and once a little bit after the baby, it's right when the baby comes off of Mother Brain. So he has to make sure that he's in the air in both of those moments so that he doesn't get locked under the ground. But if he did get locked under the ground, that's where the X-ray scope would help him, because he is able to use X-ray to stand up, force himself into a stand-up, and then continue the glitch. So he is going to be just fine. Not the cleanest Mother Brain stand-up glitch. Normally you want to only have to do 1 shot on Mother Brain 3. It looks like Open Goats had to do 2, but still very good. He also did a little bit of manipulating the baby's position so that it didn't fly all the way off screen before Mother Brain's scripted attack to actually kill him came out. So that saves a little bit of time. I think Cutie might have gotten grabbed on that baby skip. Nope, he's fine.
Nope, but that was a really... Well, for me, I've always had to struggle with baby skips, so clean baby skip. And Aussie is coming up on it.
Yep. Cutie and Aussie are actually fairly close together, all things considered. Both of them doing different routes. Pretty cool to see.
Oats currently doing his escape. And Aussie doing the baby skip, see if he can get it.
Looks good.
Nice baby skip from him. If you don't know, when you get grabbed by the baby Metroid, it puts you in a cutscene where it drains your health down to 1, and so you have to go into another room off to the left to refill your energy. And it seems like Ghost is just finished with a nice 1:16, as you were saying earlier. He would have 1:16. So
Yep, his official SRL time was 1 hour, 16 minutes, and 15 seconds, which is actually... Am I allowed to talk about... I don't know. It's in second place. That's all you need to know. Apparently I'm not allowed to talk about off-stream runners because they don't exist. They aren't real. They're just a figment of your imagination.
they phase out of existence. And it seems that Real Cutie and Aussie are doing Mother Brain Fight right now.
Yep, they're both doing the fight at the same time. Of course, Cutie already onto that stand-up glitch. Well, Aussie's a little bit behind, so... You know, Cutie's pretty definitively ahead and is probably not going to throw, for lack of a better word. But Aussie's still making very good pace, keeping up with a very strong runner in Cutie.
Yeah.
Of course, Aussie also a very strong runner. One of 2 runners, actually, to have a sub-hour RBO time. So that's cool.
Yeah, it is.
I guess I am allowed to talk about off-screen runners now. Now that I don't know what's happening, dude. I haven't. Nobody tells me anything around here, man.
I'm just gonna go with we cannot. But right now, Aussie is currently doing the Mother Brain Fight, while Real Cutie has just finished Mother Brain.
Yep.
Or
Once
now
again,
he's
not the
taking
cleanest
a-
stand-up. Looked like 3 or 4 shots, but still not too bad. You'll take it.
Yep. And now Real Cutie's gonna be doing the escape. Let's hope for a nice and clean escape.
Well, he already got stuck on the gate, so it's ruined. Just needs to reset now, honestly.
Yep. That's a wrap.
That's a wrap.
And Aussie obtaining the rainbow. Oh no, he already did that. He's gonna be doing the escape as well. And right now, Cutie is doing pretty well for the escape.
We are gonna verify Osa's run here, see if he got 100%. He didn't forfeit an SRL, so I assume he got all the items. And Cutie is gonna
Nice
finish.
time from Cutie.
Yep, 1:19:52 was his official time. That is good enough for 5th place in the qualifier. There was another runner finishing with a time of 1:19:53, so that's pretty cool. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see that race, but, you know, that only
Oats
makes their
does
inevitable
have a
race
100%
in the
item.
100% tournament all that more hype, as they say.
Oats does have that 100% item completion, and Aussie will be finishing the run.
Yep, his official time was 1 hour, 20 minutes, and 37 seconds. And
Great run.
I
All
believe
4 racers.
that is going to... Hold on. I believe that does it for the run on stream. I don't think we're getting any other runners added. That's a lot of work. It's pretty tough to like just swap in runners. It's been done before. It's hard.
Yeah. A great run from Oats and Goats, Real Cutie, Aussie, and Azuli, even though
Yeah, still not totally sure what happened to Azuli, but he was having a solid run before he forfeited, and Behemoth was not running. He didn't forfeit. He unentered the race, but his console was apparently not outputting a picture. Makes it hard to run. Looks like we are joined by Aussie. So, GG, Aussie. How you doing?
Hey, GG. So coming into this, I had no practice at all. Like since multicat, I haven't played the category. So it was really helpful having the restream with Tony being like just ahead of me enough so I knew which item to get next. And then Cutie also at the end.
Nice.
100% is not my strongest category.
Yeah, as a somebody who is also 100% is not my strongest category, I respect it. So just tell me kind of like more specifically about your run, how you felt, why you chose the route you did with the late or with the early croc. I believe you did.
That's the route I learned like long ago.
Fair.
I think it all started when I was watching Sloater stream, and Sloater's runs early croc. At least he did. And so that's how I remembered 100% and just filled in the gaps from there. Against PB, the run went really well. Up through Meridia. And then like, after Spring Ball and Lower Norfair, I lost a lot of time. And this ended up tying my PB.
Well, that's pretty cool.
Well, I have to say I am impressed because my PB is nowhere near yours.
Yeah, and then we had a stack stream here. Behemoth.
So, anything else you want to say about the runners in the qualifiers or the tournament? How you're expecting to do, or what your plans are, at least in the tournament?
I guess I'm not. I didn't expect to really focus on this tournament with SG Live qualifiers going on at the same time. I'm gonna work on those some more. So stick to the Link to the Past things, and also I'm coming off of like, long Super Metroid grinds in other categories. It was RBO, and then it was Super Zero Mission. I spent months on. And so I'm ready to take a break from Super Metroid, so this is more of a casual tournament for me.
Yeah, I was talking about how you have a sub-hour RBO, I believe. So,
Yeah.
just want to say it to your face. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it took a lot of work and effort to get that.
Looks like we do have an interview with Oates. It's in the Discord. We'll see if he joins. Guess we will wait then. Looks like all the runners on stream finished with 100%, so that's always nice to see.
Yeah. All the runners having a great run. Oates will not be joining for the commentary.
Yeah, that's all right. Let's see if he... Judging by what he said, it looks like he is planning on playing in more qualifiers, so we'll get to see more action from him. Very solid Honda runner, of course. And I think that's going to do it for us. I assume we're allowed to leave now.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and dip. Everybody have a great night. That was a very awesome run from all the runners, and yeah, hope you all have a great day.
All right. Of course, shout outs to my co-commentator, Notro Rylet, I believe that was. He's not here to correct me anymore, so I can call him whatever I want. And of course, all the people behind the scenes at SpeedGaming, all the runners both on stream and off stream. I wonder if we have commands for that. We do. Crazy. Crazy what technology can do these days. And so, on behalf of everyone, especially me, because I'm the only one to say it, but everyone else behind the scenes, in the races, in SpeedGaming, probably Rylet as well, thanks for watching. We'll see you at 9 a.m. bright and early tomorrow, I believe is the next qualifier. So if you don't want to miss anything, set your alarms, drink a bunch of water so that you get woken up because you have to pee so bad. Apparently that's the thing people do. Whatever you have to do to wake up for it, go ahead and do it. And we'll see you then. Thanks for watching.